What if the future of education is no longer human? In China, artificial intelligence is moving beyond the classroom into the very core of how children learn. Backed at the highest levels of the state and driven by a booming tech industry, AI is reshaping childhood itself. From learning tablets to virtual tutors, machines can now diagnose a child's strengths and weaknesses in minutes, what a human teacher or even a parent could take years to understand, and design a personalized path through education at a scale no human system has ever achieved. That same technology is now entering classrooms, homes, and markets around the world, including the United States. And that raises a new set of questions, not just about education, but about influence. We often hear that children are the future, but if the tools shaping how they learn can also map how they think and predict who they can become, who controls that knowledge? Jolene Liang is the co-founder of one of China's leading AI education companies, now expanding globally, including into the US market. She says AI won't replace schools, but it will redefine them. Jolene Liang talks to Al Jazeera.
Jolene Liang, thank you very much for talking to Al Jazeera. So you are a co-founder and the US CEO of Squirrel AI Learning. It's an AI learning model. Can you explain the mechanics of it, what it does?
Okay, sure. It's my honor to be here today. So the AI engine that we have been built for 11 years is not based on LLM. That's one thing I have to emphasize every time.
LLM, large language model like ChatGPT or DeepSeek?
No, not any of those.
It's not that?
Nope. LLM is only less than 5% in our whole engine. So the name of our engine is called LAM. The full name is AI Large Adaptive Model. So we know the general LLM, right?
Yes.
It's for everyone use, that's fine.
DeepSeek, ChatGPT, ask a question.
The general
it's
one.
read everything that humanity has ever written, and it's a probabilistic model that churns out written answers based on probability.
Exactly. You ask questions, you get answers, you get feedback, you get solutions, right?
Yeah.
So we are doing very vertical AI model. We deep dive into this vertical industry, into education, to find out the students' loopholes, weakness, and strengths, and then AI will do recommendation of the learning automatically without the students to ask, what should I learn? How do I get answers? And plus, we don't give them the answers directly, because with LAM, we teach students how to learn this learning objective, how to train their abilities, how to train their learning method. So it's not to give you answer, to tell you, hey, this is the solution, get it and do it. No, we teach them how to learn. So that's basically the difference.
I want to come right back to how this works, but first explain what the service is that Squirrel AI provides. It's tutoring. Is that the best way to describe it?
Yes, AI virtual tutor. That's the best definition of our product. So basically, we have a smart learning tablet. That's what we call the AI virtual tutor. And inside of the tablet, that's what we have the LAM engine. We have the AI engine, we have the contents embedded all together. So it's one piece of the smart learning tablet you can use in hand.
But it's tutoring of what? What do the students learn?
We have different subjects. So in China, because we have been doing for 11 years, we have 6 subjects: math, English, Chinese, physics, chemistry, biology. And in US, because we just started, and we start with math subject, and then we're gonna do reading later. And for international market, we're gonna focus in math and reading, English reading, yes.
For what age groups?
Pre-K to G12.
So that would be pre-K, that's American academic speak for 3-4-year-olds?
Yeah, 3-4 years
Wow.
old until before college, grade 12.
So from 3 to 18?
Yeah.
Roughly? Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
6 subjects in China and in Chinese, therefore.
Yes, and the platform is in Chinese in China market as well, yes. And the contents are in Chinese in China market. We are in US, everything is in English.
Does this replace school or does this replace after-school homework?
I don't want to say it's replacing schools because we provide additional services and products to help the teachers, to help the students to learn. So currently, in China, we have over 3,000 self-study centers located across China, different cities. And in the center, we don't have human teachers to teach knowledge.
You do not have human teachers?
No. Everything is taught by the AI virtual tutor. However, we do have human instructors to do supervision, emotional communication, and more important, they need to do the data analysis for the students after a few sessions of learning. They need to talk to the students about the report, what they have been doing good and what need to be improved, but nothing to teach the knowledge.
Wait, that doesn't sound like a good thing. Nobody who teaches knowledge.
Yep, AI is teaching.
AI is doing the teaching. So you say you have analysts, not teachers. The students will study during the day in school, and then after school, if they want help in math, physics and chemistry, languages, you
yes.
said, they will go and do this after-school tutoring program, and they have to go to one of your learning centers. Why do they have to go to a center rather than, say, do it online at home?
Very, very, very good question. You know why? Because people think, okay, I have the tablet. I can learn anywhere. That's true, no problem. Like my daughter in Melbourne, she is using the tablet at home without going to centers because we don't have centers in Melbourne, right? However, when she was in China before moving to Melbourne, she loved going to the centers. She said, Mom, can I go to the centers? Why? In the centers, we have the human instructors who can guide them, who can interact with them. If they need any help, the instructor will be just there. And we have a data analyst platform. They can look at what's going on, monitoring everything, the progress, if you have struggling with anything, and the instructor will just, interact with you. And there will be students, friends there. They love to talk to each other. They love to have the break time. Okay, let's play some games. And they love to get rewarding, some bonus, some gifts in the center. So physical centers, physical locations are still very important in the era of AI education. We are not saying that, okay, schools are gonna disappear. No way. The school's gonna be there. Human interaction is gonna be there. Physical locations should still be there. So that's why we have the physical locations and human instructors are still there.
If this is a great way of learning, then why doesn't it replace school? I'm not advocating replacing schools, but why doesn't this exist instead of the math class that a 7-year-old would have in school? They would be doing this. Why isn't that the case? You have this on top of school.
Well, first of all, it's very hard for schools, districts, and teachers to accept this new, method of teaching.
Okay.
When we started talking to this, this new method with schools and teachers, very offensive. They don't want to accept.
Sure.
And even for now, I think majority of the schools, they are still afraid of being replaced because they don't have the full picture. They don't have the deep understanding about AI education.
How is this better than having a tutor, a human tutor? Say a parent finds a great tutor, somebody who understands their child, understands their learning needs. Is AI any better than that?
I would say in generally, AI is better than superior teacher. However, if we have one particular superior teacher to teach our kids, that's very good. But we have to think broader way, the whole market, the whole humanity. How can we help? So we are thinking at a large scale, not particular student or family. But we did some efficacy studies, and we also call that AI versus human teacher competition. And one of the example is one of the Chinese language superior teacher in China, and was in that competition and on a stage for a TV show. And our AI virtual tutor outperformed her performance. But she's a great teacher.
You filmed AI tutoring competition, AI tutoring versus human tutoring, and AI won.
Yes, of course.
In what subject?
In Chinese.
Okay.
In Chinese language. And that teacher was really, she is great. In China we have different ranking of the teachers. The toppest is called superior teachers. they have to experience probably 20, 30 years, and then they have this award title.
So how does AI become better than a teacher? We started to explain the mechanics of how this system works. Why is it better?
Okay, let me talk about the teachers first, right? If a superior teacher is going to be really, really good, then the teacher needs to follow the students probably for 2-3 years. Then the teacher understands the students, right?
Yes.
However, with AI, we probably need 30 minutes
How?
or 1 hour to understand the students. How? Okay, the students need to do a test in the system at the very beginning, that the AI can do diagnosing of the students' learning, the knowledge state, strengths, weakness, loopholes, and which level the students is at. So AI algorithm, the structure, and in the past we've accumulated over 20 billion learning behavior data that works well to diagnose, to find out the student in a very short period of time. However, if the students stay with our system, say 3 months or 6 months longer, and then the AI will understand students better. But we can compare the time. For a human teacher, it takes years to understand one student. But for AI, a few hours maximum to understand a student.
Because you've listed pretty much all the learning behaviors as you've just described. So you have your engine, your AI engine has a catalog of all the student learning behaviors, and based on what it sees, the answers it gets in this test, it figures out basically how the student is learning, what they know and don't know, and then it offers them the next best thing for them.
Yeah, the best thing, the learning contents for the next steps. And also when we do the content development at the very beginning, what we have done is very nano level, which is granular, very granular level of the learning objectives. So let me make one example. So in one subject, say 5th grade of math subject, normally in class or in the textbook, they have probably 500 learning objectives. For our engine, what we have done is break them down into 30,000 to 50,000 learning objectives based on the 500 ones, which means a very, very granular level. So the AI does the diagnosing, right, to find out what granular level of the learning objectives the student has not mastered in the past. Then the AI will do recommendation of learning those granular level of learning objective instead of the big ones, because the big ones is too general, it's too broad.
So your method is to break down learning of students between ages 3 and 18 into tiny, tiny chunks, far smaller than, say, a normal school curriculum would normally break it down in.
Exactly.
And advance through those tiny, tiny chunks. And that's what's better about the model.
Exactly. The contents, the granularity of the contents, and the 20 billion learning behavior data. These two parts together makes the AI engine powerful to understand the student.
What is the criticism of the model? If you had to outline the limitations of AI learning, what would that be?
I think that will be the students where they should be studying. They should be studying at home by themselves. They want to, keep their kids in the center. That's one issue we have been facing, because sometimes the students and family parents, they are lazy. They want to, keep their kids in.
Who's lazy, the parents or the students?
The parents and the students. They say, oh, I want to stay home, because why they want to stay home? They don't want to drive the car there, and the students, well, if they stay home, the parents cannot monitor them. They use our tablet, but they may do something else. But in that case, it's very hard for us to monitor and find out what's going on.
So you still need a classroom-like discipline.
Exactly. In the center, we can make sure, okay, 30 minutes to 1 hour, the students focus on the learning in the tablet, in the ecosystem, and all the learning behavior data we can capture. I mean, when I say we, it's the AI engine. Currently, we have different academic subjects and also one we call MCM system, methodology, capacity, and mode of thinking. So that's what we have so far. And the limitations of the contents would be the art and maybe some music so far.
So subjects that are more creative.
Yes, but we can still train their MCM abilities. So those MCM elements are kind of, it does include critical thinking, comprehensive thinking, logic thinking, this kind of abilities, but it's not art. It's not drawing picture, it's not learning music. That's not sports. So that's kind of the limitation for the content so far in the tablet, in the system. But AI will definitely help in the other areas. But in our system, we don't have them now.
So I asked you, told us at the beginning of the interview about LLMs, large language models like ChatGPT or DeepSeek, versus what you do, LAM, large adaptive model.
Yep.
So I asked an LLM, in this case ChatGPT, for some critiques, possible flaws of AI learning. I'm going to run you through them.
Okay.
You tell me what you think. Number one flaw, potential, pointed out by ChatGPT, is that adaptive tutors, that's what you do, adaptive tutors are often strong at boosting short-term test performance, but weaker at measuring long-term retention. So in other words, the critique here is that maybe Squirrel AI helps to get a better score on the math test, but not really become long-term better at math. Your thoughts?
That's not correct.
Okay, I thought you'd say that.
Yeah, that's definitely the wrong answer, because we have so many students case studies in our system over 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and one example I want to mention is a student. Her name is Qing Qing. We've been following her for 7 years, and at the beginning she's a disability girl. She couldn't really study Chinese and English well. She was okay with math, and after 6 years using our system, and she has just entered one of the best universities in China, Wuhan University. So, this case can show it's a long-term results. But why, some people think it's short-term? I think because of many other education technology companies, what they do is they just want to, okay, I diagnose your pronunciation. I diagnose your result for the short term, for now. And then the next step, they don't really care about the next step. Maybe for short term, you practice your English word pronunciation, you practice some problems, and that's it. But for us, we continuously track the students' learning progress from the beginning, mid-term, and following until they go to college.
Critique number 2 by ChatGPT is the mirage effect. It's a false sense of mastery. Because if AI gives a lot of hints and gives you instant feedbacks, as adaptive models are supposed to do, then you can get the impression that you're always succeeding because you're always moving on to the next question and the next thing, when really it gives you the impression of knowledge rather than actual knowledge.
Okay, so I wouldn't say that's wrong, but it's different. So in adaptive engine, we do have to encourage students to learn, but we won't let them to feel that they succeed all the time, because there are many times they cannot answer the questions. They learn this learning video or the game, for one learning objective, they still don't master, they still don't understand. So when they do the practices of the questions, they get it wrong. So at that time, we have the mistake reasoning ontology, which means wrong answer is A, right? Wrong answer is B, wrong answer is C. So why you got this answer wrong, we have the analysis for the student. And then the next step will not be continuous learning this learning objective or a higher level of the learning objective. Instead of that, going back to the fundamental prerequisite learning objective to learn, you have to master. They have to understand what their weakness, what their knowledge states are.
So you say no mirage effect. Here's another one. Again, ChatGPT. Blame ChatGPT.
Okay.
That the systems, the AI learning systems, they optimize for what they can measure. But, and you touched on this earlier, things like creativity, discussion, writing quality can't really be measured in the way that learning a language or a math test can be measured. And therefore it is harder to learn those things and become better at those skills through AI learning.
I think that's 50-50.
50-50.
Yeah, I would say 50 right, 50 not right, because we are working on that. But so far, I haven't seen any platform product who can do better using AI to do creativity, critical thinking. But what we have done is to embed it, this MCM I just mentioned before, into the knowledge learning together. However, we are still on the halfway, to be honest. We're still doing the development, how to use AI algorithm to train students' abilities.
This is something I wanted to ask you. Half of your revenue, between 30 and 50% of your revenue right now, is still being invested in research and development. So what's the improvement that you're looking for?
Well, 5 years ago, let's say, we didn't have the students writing learning path solution to be captured into the system to take into account to do the analysis. That's very important because you get the right answer A, I get the same right answer, right? It looks like we are the same, but we are different because the way you solve the problem and the way I solve the problem is different, which means the learning objectives that we have mastered are different. Then the AI will do different analysis. So this is a new function, for example. And before we didn't have the AI evaluation for the writing essays, and now we have it. And we didn't have the chatbot 5 years ago, and now we have the chatbot on the bottom of the system, the platform, which means the student can ask some questions about the learning, and if they have even emotional issues, they can talk to the AI agent.
Yeah, the AI agent or to a human?
The AI agent.
If they have emotional issues, they can talk to the AI agent?
Yeah.
They can tell the chatbot, I'm frustrated?
Yeah.
And what's the chatbot going to do?
Well, it depends on the situation. I'll say, maybe calm down, you have been doing great. The only little thing is you have to master blah, blah, learning component, but you need to take patience, you don't have to panic. And then if you need help, maybe talk to your instructor, anything. I mean, I can't really name everything, but it really depends. But it's basically regarded of, the learning, yeah.
What do you do with data privacy? Because you're potentially in a position to be collecting really intimate knowledge about how people's brains work from ages 3 to 18, how they've been learning, what they're good at, what maybe they'll never be good at, however hard they try. You can imagine, this data could be used for, potentially could be misused, could be used for nefarious purposes, to select. I mean, one can only imagine the dystopia of ill-intentioned people using that data. How do you guard against that?
So we have very strict data privacy policies internationally in China and US. So first of all, we collect students' learning behavior data, not their personal information. Even though we do have like Jolin Liang's name in the system, and my age, my gender, which city, but not my address, and my parents' phone number. That's what we have in the system. We call them personal private information.
But you still have in the system Jolin Liang, good at this, not so good at that.
Yeah, that's another part.
Not great at learning in this particular way.
Yeah, but in that's the second part of the learning behavior data. So that is just the learning behavior data. We won't mention it's Jolin Liang, but it's student A. So AI engine has to do the analysis, calculation, and training the model with those learning behavior data. But we don't transfer this data to any third party.
You're a Chinese-based company. It was developed in China. It first opened in China. You're the CEO of the US branch.
Yep.
Do you foresee any issues there, bringing AI? You see where I'm going. I mean, TikTok just had to essentially cut off its right arm with the US branch being now run by Americans. Do you foresee any issues there?
Yes, well, it is very challenging. In US, we have separate entity,
Yes.
which means it's isolated from the Chinese company. And we have two...
So essentially what they forced TikTok to just do.
Well, yes, but we did it by ourselves.
Right,
no
sure.
one forced us. We just wanted to make sure the isolation is clear. We don't want to make any issues. So the different company, different entity, and different shareholders, and the engines that we have been placed in US market has totally isolation with the Chinese engine, which means Chinese company built its whole engine, right, and gave the licensing to the US company to use it for free for now, for probably 20 years, but there's total cut of the engine. So nothing will be transferred from US back to China, China to US in the future.
What does the future of AI learning look like? If we meet again in 20 years, what questions will I be asking you?
AI learning or AI teaching probably will dominate the whole education. However, the schools are still going to be there. The teachers are still going to be there. But the teachers have to use the AI tools or platform or anything to teach the students. I think the teacher's role, when I say teachers from kindergarten to university professors, the teacher roles should be changed. They should not be teaching knowledge anymore because the knowledge can be done.
Teachers should not be teaching knowledge anymore.
Only. They should be teaching some experiences, social skills, some project-based learning. I think those kind of things is very hard to be replaced, to be 100% replaced by AI. AI can help, but it won't be replaced by AI.
What you're talking about is a completely different school and school system from what exists today.
Yeah. For example, a full-time school, 8 hours. Half day, the students can learn from the AI engine platform product by themselves. Self-directed learning. Well, that's, by the way, the engine we have been building. But the other half day, they have to work peer study with the professors and teachers and go out, do activities, and go to some companies, be practical, not sitting in the classroom.
So I grabbed my phone because what you said made me think of a message I got from my son. He's 15.
Okay.
He doesn't love school.
Why?
Sends me this WhatsApp the other day, quote, "The times have changed, but school hasn't." This was his big argument about why he's bored in school and it's not interesting and maybe even not worth going to, because he learns more, he says, outside of school than inside school. So after I've spoken to you, I said the answer, according to you, is school has to radically change, and you think that under the pressure of AI, it will.
It will definitely be changed, but for the short term, 3 to 5 years, I don't think it's going to be huge change. But in the long term, we were talking about 20 years, right? It's going to be changed, yes. There are some new pattern of schools, like private schools, and there are more and more people are choosing homeschooling because they can tailor their kids. There are no students going to be low performance or better, good performance. The students are different. We need to train them, teach them in different ways. We should not just educate them only in academic knowledge. We should train them in different ways.
Jolene Liang, thank you very much for talking to Al Jazeera.
My pleasure. Thank you.